What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Avarice Trading Podcast, or you may be watching this on YouTube on the Avarice Trading channel. Either way, welcome. Gonna do another commentary track. Today will be episode 2, season 1 of The Wire. So we will be picking up, of course, where we left off on the last episode of The Wire. The uninitiated don't know. The initiated do know that I start off by making a cup of coffee, and then I take a bong hit, I give you a countdown, and I start playing the show. You'll be able to slightly hear it playing in the background. I will be offering insight and opinions over the top of it. It's definitely not a substitute for watching the TV show. It's just kind of gives me a framework for ideas to talk about. Plus, The Wire is genuinely my all-time favorite TV show. So, I just have this deep urge to share it with people. It's like I'm watching it with somebody, I guess. I get to talk about it with somebody, even though nobody's with me. Get to express my thoughts and feelings about it as it's happening. The odds are, if you're listening to this, you're balls deep in The Wire. You're probably a big fan. You've probably seen the series front to back multiple times like I have. And I've never been too much into reading. It's just not my thing. But I know that people like to read their favorite books multiple times. And I feel that way about movies and TV shows because I think your first run through, you get a general idea of the storyline and the plot and the through line, and you know what happens, but you get to pick up on a lot of nuance and things you missed out on when you return for a second, third, fourth visit to the same product. You don't want to do it so repetitive that you get bored with it, but you're creating a Rolodex, so to speak, of things that you've seen in the show. So once you've already stored away a certain knowledge of what's happening, you don't have to pay so much attention to those details, and you can look at some of the ancillary things that make up the series and analyze those. And you get to appreciate the true depth of a product when you do that. For instance, I don't know if it's still the case, but the phone number that they gave out for the drug attorney, Levy, in the show was an active phone number. And if you called it, you got a voice message of Marlo from season 5 going off and giving people a speech about respecting his name and calling him out. So that's just a level of sophistication and depth that they added to this. Everything, like to give out a number in the show and have it be an actual working number and lead to something related to the show, those are the kind of Easter eggs that fans love. And the fact that they thought it through enough to put shit like that in there. I didn't realize how complex and great writing could get until I watched this show. The Shield was almost there. The Shield was before this. I watched The Shield. But The Shield didn't feel as realistic to me. It wasn't as raw. Plus, The Shield was on FX, which, even though it's a cable network, it's not a movie channel. So they still had some restrictions content-wise of what they could show, what they could say. And The Wire is no holds barred, like Oz was, like The Sopranos was. HBO was really groundbreaking in the TV series genre. All right, I am seated here, ready to take a hit, and then we will begin the episode. As I'm recording this, I actually have yet to post the commentary track for the first episode. I've realized some of the flaws in my recording and posting procedures. I'll let potential projects or content build up too much, and then I'll record 3-4 things in a day, and then I'll post them all in that same day or within a couple days, instead of recording stuff and banking it and then releasing one item day by day, which is what I'm doing now. So I kind of have a little bit of a kitty built up of stuff that I'm prepared to post in the future. A, because I like being on top of my game that way, and B, because I'm only able to record and post and have that free time a few days a week. So if I just bank them on the days when I have the time, the other days I can find time to get the posts done. I just can't make new content on those days because I have other obligations. That was a pretty verbose explanation, but in the past, if I had recorded a commentary, it would be live the next day. So I'm having to adjust my thought process to realize that it hasn't been released yet. But by the time you hear this, it definitely will. I'm getting way off in the woods. You'll have to forgive me. I recorded a movie commentary before this on Child's Play. So look for that to be coming down the pike. All right, we've taken our hit. I'm seated at the TV. I am watching The Wire Season 1, Episode 2, The Detail, on Amazon Prime. And I've already gone through their little opening advertisement, so when I hit play, it will be actually at the beginning of the episode. So I'm pushing play now in 3, 2, 1, play. You'll hear that classic snow fuzzy TV HBO beginning. It's interesting they took that and made it their trademark, because that used to be a bad sign when you saw that on TV. So here's William Gant, all laid out, dead. He's the witness from the D'Angelo Barksdale murder that we saw at the end of the last episode. McNulty and Bunk are here scoping it out. So they're having a conversation about if they think he got killed because he's a witness or if he just got killed because he was in Baltimore.
The only time his name pops up on the courthouse computers will be in a state witness in Barlow's case. Otherwise, I don't even make that connection.
So this guy's a totally clean record, working man, never done anything wrong.
You gotta admit, don't make sense.
The only time his name pops up in the system is as a state witness.
Here's the one hard-headed fuck in the terrorist you can't run off or buy out, right? Your audience.
So McNulty is hip to the game. McNulty knows what their angle is. Bonk is trying to soft sell it and give him all these alternate points of view where it could have been someone else. Why kill him after the case is over? And McNulty's saying, this is the one who was willing to stand up and speak his mind. So they're sending a message that you don't do that or we'll get you anyway. It was basically strictly to send a message. This guy had no leverage over them any longer. The case was over. But they couldn't get him to shut up or buy him out or scare him. So they killed him. And Bunk caught the case. So Bunk is going to soft sell the witness angle. And he's just going to work it like a straight murder because he doesn't want to cause a bunch of noise. Jimmy has other ideas. You happy now, bitch? He'll save your soul. Gotta keep the devil way down in the hole. God damn, I love this song. And I'm not religious at all. It's just a fucking good song. They nailed every part of this show. It's almost frustrating. It's so good it makes me mad because it's like worrying that you're never going to have an experience that great ever again. I don't know that I'll ever like a TV show as much as I like this TV show, which is why I return to it so often. I just go back to it. for no reason at all either. I will be just one day bored trying to find something to watch, and I'll go, fuck it, let's put on an episode of The Wire. And the next thing I know, I spent a couple of weeks watching entire seasons of it. But then I'll end up not finishing it, and I'll start up again months later. There's no rhyme or reason. You cannot lose if you do not play. Marla Daniels. She's got a point there. Anybody who's listened to my previous podcast about working in the newspaper business, which, judging off the download numbers, is almost nobody, I was offered the opportunity to take over a distribution warehouse. It's the largest Oregonian one in the state, and a high product volume, etc., but they were having major issues. And I got in there on kind of a trial basis. And I basically surmised that it was almost an unwinnable situation. And even if it was fixable, even if I was able to right the ship, it was going to consume my life. I was going to have no life. So I decided I could not lose if I did not play, and I told them I was not going to play.
Jesus Christ.
That normally goes against my ethic in life as a person. Normally, I'll stick it out even if something sucks, give it my best effort, and stick with it till I get through. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to recognize that some endeavors are futile, and it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So it was better for me to go ahead and pass on that. And fast forward to a year later, the person who did take it over in my stead failed, and they dissolved the warehouse and split it up amongst the other surviving ones. So I'm not saying that it's apples and apples and her and I are the same person and it would have gone the same way. Mostly because I know that she didn't change anything when she got in there, and I definitely would have changed stuff. But to me, the writing was on the wall that that place wasn't going to make it. So McNulty has taken his ass back to the fucking courthouse now, and he's talking to the judge about the witness who was murdered, and it was a witness in his courtroom. He was the judge presiding over the case that witness testified in.
We give the dead witness angle to the newspaper, stir some real shit.
No, that tips Barksdale that someone's working him. We don't want to go public.
Unfortunately, when Jimmy talks to the judge about this, he has now taken the power out of his own hands. The judge now has the ability to release this information at will by whatever means he wishes. So he wants to go to the newspapers and Jimmy doesn't want to, but that's not within Jimmy's control anymore. If he wants to go to the newspapers, the judge that is, he's going to go to the fucking newspapers. So the episode is called The Detail because that's what they call the crew of people they put together to work on the Avon Barksdale case, and this is that crew. This is The Detail. It's basically Jimmy, Lieutenant Daniels, Kima, and a bunch of people that the other divisions didn't want and sent there. Like, they left it up to the other people to choose who they were going to send, so they sent over the people they didn't want. Point in case, Presbalewski just shot the fucking wall by accident. He starts off the series, the season, as a wet behind the ears dipshit, unworthy of carrying a gun or wearing a badge. But as it progresses, he earns his stripes and finds his groove and where he belongs in this setting. Because there's so many aspects of investigating a crime that you can compartmentalize a lot of it, and thus somebody can have a specialty. They don't have to be great at the whole spectrum. And Presbalewski's skill seems to be chasing the data, the trails, codes, paperwork.
It's an accident, okay? Give me a fucking break already.
And he's not taking this seriously.
Where's Beluski?
From motor unit, right? Cantrell said.
Not exactly. Lieutenant
He was in,
Sent me the casualty section a couple months back. And I asked out a casualty.
he's a fuck up, and he basically just keeps getting passed from division to division because nobody wants him. He only got in there because his father-in-law is a captain or a lieutenant or something. Now we get some profound enlightenment about chicken nuggets. This whole conversation. But D'Angelo gets it. D'Angelo realizes that just because you work for McDonald's and help them create something doesn't mean you're rich. The motherfucker who owns McDonald's is rich.
Why not? Nigga, please. The man who invented them things, just some sad ass down at the basement.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Make some money for the real place. Nah, man, that ain't right.
If the dude who invented chicken nuggets wanted to be rich, he would have had to start a restaurant called Chicken Nuggets.
Go down that basement and say, hey, Mr. Nugget, you the bomb. We selling chicken
So you could tear the bone out. I love that they think that they're actually tearing the bone out of chicken. They don't realize it's this fucking pink paste that gets injected into a mold and then turns into something that resembles chicken after it's cooked. Just the uniformity in the shape. Shit in one hand and have ideas in the other and see which one fills up first. That filing cabinet doesn't belong there. Who the fuck put that there? In the middle of the hallway?
I also got handed some kidney, Presbolowski.
Presbolowski. Him, I know.
This district attorney... I can't even talk right now.
Own car. You remember?
So now Daniels finds out Presbolowski, the reason he keeps getting transferred from place to place,
On the radio like he was under fire from a sniper.
he shot a bunch of rounds into his own patrol car and then called in to dispatch and said that he was being shot by... That sign says, "Happy birthday, Michael Jordan." What the fuck?
Some kind of suction with the mayor's office. I know exactly.
The Wallace character is played by Michael B. Jordan.
Are you right?
Wonder if... I don't know. I've never noticed that before. You'd have to have a big screen like I do to see it. So anyway, Presbolowski shot up his own car, called into dispatch and said he was under attack. They were able to investigate and find out that the shots came from his own gun. And he didn't get his ass bounced out because he married into police royalty, essentially.
No.
Daniels knows the game. He gets it. He's basically saying they gave him shitty tools because they don't want him to do a great job. If they, he said, the way he words it, if they sent him good cops, he'd get it in his mind to do good police work. Now, we already got enlightened to the fact that he's a company man by Bunk earlier. He doesn't want to go outside the chain of command. So he's trying a sneaky back doorway to get Ronnie to go in and ask for stronger manpower on the case on the state's behalf. And she's not buying it. Because he doesn't want to get in trouble the way McNulty's getting in trouble, basically. We'll see that kid again later. So now Kima is charged with the task of going up and surveilling the pit with these two dipshits. They're still on parallel paths at the moment.
Yeah, Kima, where you taking us?
Herc and Carver diverged strongly after this season, but right now... Another thing I like about this, they use the lingo of people from Baltimore, and a lot of them sound like they're from Baltimore. They have Baltimore accents. I can now pick out a Baltimore accent from having watched this show. Like if you watch the movie White Boy Rick, I was watching that with my wife, and I was like, this dude sounds like he's from Baltimore. So I Googled it, and he's from fucking Baltimore. I can pick out a Baltimore accent now because of this show. That's how accurate they were. Said chew.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, what's going on there, guys? Justice, man, already out. No, I'm not in need of your services here, bro. I'm offering my services to y'all.
Bubbles is working with the cops, and he came up with this idea. He's gonna put the hat on whoever is important to them. Akima's gonna snap a picture of him, and then they can start a photo wall, get names, start figuring out how all these pieces fit together. So there's Stinkum. Downtown Mad, need downtown Brim, right? Now he's gonna put it on Weebay. Actually, Weebay just grabbed it and put it on. But
What's with the hats?
the other guy standing up back there's a little man. Kima doesn't have a time to explain shit to him. It's like when you're at work and there's that person who asks questions just for the sake of it, and you're pretty sure that they know, or if they don't know, they don't need to know, but they just keep talking, and you're like, will you just shut the fuck up so I can do my work? I'm not trying to be antisocial, but goddamn. McNulty and Bunk are gonna roll up on D'Angelo now and grill him about the dead witness. There happens to be a vial laying there on the ground right in front of him.
Ain't gonna put that one on me. He a witness. Pick that shit up.
You get an idea of the
Put shit on me.
compartmentalization that I was talking about earlier. Here, Jimmy and Bunk are homicide detectives. They don't give a fuck about the selling drugs. They're not trying to catch them selling drugs. They're trying to solve the dead body issue. They're worried about the bodies.
Let's understand each other. I'm not West.
So there's kind of like a gray area drug-wise. They're not going to search him. He's not going to attempt to plant that vial on anybody. He doesn't give a fuck about that.
D'Angelo here knows that. He remembers me from the trial, right? Sitting in back there behind Stringer, watching.
The acting in this series,
Don't ask me about that shit. Thought you heard what the jury had to say.
I don't know the actor that plays D'Angelo's name, but this is his best role.
My partner,
Only other thing I can remember him being in is The Water Boy.
just you and my partner, Mr. Shit here.
Bodie is in a few TV shows.
Just sharing up.
He was in Oz for a few seasons, I think. He's in like one episode of The Sopranos, and then he's in this for like 3-4 seasons. Strong performances and all that, but he didn't get used afterwards. Of course, Wallace went on. He's Michael B. fucking Jordan now. He's Creed, Black Panther. He's all that. He's probably the most successful one of any of these people. Wendell Pierce has had a lot of random roles where he can shine, kind of spotlight roles. Dominic West, though, what the fuck did they do with him? They didn't. Maybe it's a personal choice and he didn't want to do more stuff. I also think he might be English, so maybe he does a lot of things over there. But goddamn, he nails McNulty. Seems like he could use him in a lot of movies.
Friend here?
Oh, he's in that Showtime series, The Affair, huh? I started watching that with my wife, and I think we got through a few episodes, but I just couldn't follow along with it. It wasn't getting good to me. See, that's Little Man. He put the hat on right now. Little Man's only in for a short amount of time. That was the problem. They're all rolling out for some reason.
Thumbs up.
Something ain't right.
Yo, come. Listen, you see boats that I have up in your car. You take some pictures.
Looks like they're fucking cold. He's even got his collar popped.
Where you going?
I just realized the other day that I don't think there is any score in the entire show. I'm aware of that now, so I'm gonna try to pay attention and see if I notice. But they don't have to use music to tell you how to feel about it. They shoot it in a way. It's the way it's written and the way it's shot and the way it's acted that makes you feel a certain way. They don't have to do all this dramatic music and shit like that. Oh, that's what they got called to. They realized that D'Angelo's out here getting hassled and they all came to observe, which is kind of shady. What are they going to resolve by parking over there?
Fuck ahead and arrest me. If not, shut the fuck up. You wanna get arrested? No.
Shut the fuck up your own self.
Fuck y'all, man. I'm out of here.
Hey, D'Angelo. Better bend the fuck over.
Man, y'all ain't got nothing else to do today?
No.
Y'all ain't got no charge.
They're basically doing this just so they can try to get some info out of them and see if they can find a lead, because they ain't got shit. They're just gonna try to talk him into something. I can't remember the name of the dude that's driving Stringer. Fuck. It doesn't matter. What is Avon's day-to-day like? Is he just hiding out counting money? Because Stringer seems to be handling almost everything. And he comes down to the ground level way more often. Because Stringer's more like the financial business type, and Avon's supposed to be on the gangster shit. But Stringer still handles the gangster shit.
Prez? He's no good to anyone. He's a goof.
How's he my problem? How's he still carrying a gun and badge?
You know Valchek in Southeast?
Valchek, that's who it is. Valchek is Presbeluski's son-in-law.
Special sent me. Poke and Mahone. Between
Or father-in-law, god damn it.
But I heard they gave you someone from Punch Out.
Mr. Freeman?
So Daniels is still on his crusade to try to get better people. He's now bitching this dude out about who he sent him, because he sent him Presbeluski.
You know I can't. I would, but I can't. I gave Valchek my word of it, okay? Liz, I can't help it that Prez is fucking the guy's daughter. If not for that, he's going, no question.
Go on, see that? That's a little bit of the Baltimore accent right there.
Emotions. For Christ's sake, Cedric, I'm right there with you on a short list for major.
Valchik has section with the First District Democratic Club, and they got section with the mayor. And I'm the run without a tit here.
I owe you.
See, you're getting a hint at the political games that they have to play. It's a power play.
He's my best man.
Trying to stay in favor with everybody, the people above you.
How about Stein?
And then worrying about if you piss this person off and they have, they're in good favor with that person and they can affect the opinion and it goes up the chain. And you get fucked real fast. Seems like an environment where everybody's afraid to be themselves because of the repercussions. But I don't know how much room there is for being yourself when you're enforcing the law. It's hard.
So then he's not gonna go public, right? Judge Phelan called this morning.
So the judge, after McNulty went and talked to
We
him,
heard it from our man, McNulty.
called the head honcho at the police department and started bitching about the witness. And they're talking about firing him because they can't trust him. McNulty, that is.
Okay, so the thing to do is reassure the judge. Keep him off his damn soapbox. An arrest or two would help. What if it's true?
It's all political. They're all just trying to game the system and affect other people's opinions. How do these people not get gangster ethics, street ethics? They're all in such disbelief that the witness would be murdered after the case is over. Yeah, he's the one who spoke up, though, goddammit. Don't you see they would have a beef with him? Don't you see they would want to send a message to everybody else that you don't speak up or this is what happens? It's pretty fucking clear.
Felony case work through that courthouse as it is.
You
You can't pull McNulty off of it.
No. We pull McNulty up, the judge will bring the press into this. I can see that a mile away. No, we're gonna sit tight. Let McNulty take his best
This
shot.
judge is a problem now.
He comes up short.
And I believe
We got nothing
that they're going to start going to their political connections and putting pressure on the judge from the other side. And that's how they're going to kind of relieve some of this pressure he's putting on them.
You part of my case?
No, sir. He's a potential suspect in my murder.
But you might be part of my case.
I can use some coffee. You want some coffee?
So Daniels is trying to establish if Jimmy's theory is accurate or not.
I need a word with you.
Lieutenant, we're just about to go now.
He ain't no punk about his shit, that's for sure.
You remember all that bullshit I gave you about keeping me informed? About nothing happening on this case that I don't know about?
Lieutenant.
What bullshit?
My partner called a murder, okay? It may have nothing to do with Barksdale at all.
I just came from
Yeah, but you still went downtown and talked to the fucking judge.
Umbrella, do you? You hear me? Rawls is giving you up.
What the fuck did I do?
You can't shut your mouth. You think that downtown judge is gonna bail your ass out on this? You really think that? You should have come to me.
Old bushy head.
To the deputy first, we got a shot. But no, you out there all alone jumping.
This is a fun fact. On the Eminem album Relapse, I think it is,
As for men, they send you drunk.
he has the skit called Dr. West. That is Dominic West.
I won't do this case. So do I.
Anybody else have anything to share? And then also Dominic West was the lead guitarist in Steel Dragon in Rockstar.
D'Angelo Barksdale, nephew of the king.
This one big murder.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, excuse me.
Witness. Why'd you pick him up?
Preston, see what kind of flex he shows?
She goes up.
There's a lot of trying to trick motherfuckers who don't know their rights with interrogations. I've said it before, I'll say it again. A fish with his mouth closed doesn't get caught.
Let him leave.
Yeah, you might want to run tag and title on these two trucks. The scope just when we jack the kid.
Already got him.
Ma'am, info's already in the file. Y'all weren't the only lawmen down in the canyon.
Is everybody kind of creating their own plan and agenda in the detail at this point? If he's in the detail and she's in the detail, shouldn't they know what each other are doing? He doesn't even know she was there.
See no reason for that man to be dead.
She's in there just to observe their interrogation of D'Angelo and see if she gets a vibe from him that he was involved.
It's not like he did anything real bad. Throwing a couple of hot ones with Pooh Blanchard. He knows when it's up.
Or at least if
But you know the man.
he puts off a vibe like he knows that it was because of his case that they were murdered, or that Gant was murdered.
You know that? You get up every day, go out and do maintenance work. Then on the weekends.
This interrogation is effectively a sales pitch.
Annie volunteers what little time he has.
They're not trying to sell a product, but they're
A Bethel man. A deacon.
making up stories,
Jobs.
using their delivery and their charisma and their storytelling ability to try to put a certain image in his head and coax a confession out of him, persuade him to sway one direction or the other.
Now they out there on their own.
That's a skill in and of itself.
He doesn't believe it. I know you don't believe it.
And here is where when they bring him in, they discover the pager, and that everybody's carrying a pager, and that is going to be a key tool in the developing investigation.
You sorry for him? You fucking killed the man. No. Yes, you did. I mean, we don't think that you shot him or anything. But if you weren't so busy lighting folks up in a high-rise lobby, he ain't coming out of the elevator and seeing it happen.
That's a fair point.
Then he doesn't testify.
He doesn't testify, he's still alive.
Still got a daddy to lead on.
Why he testify?
So they're trying to guilt trip him with kids that he didn't even actually have.
And you still beat the charge, didn't you? Yeah, well, that wasn't enough, was it? Not enough to beat the murder. They're gonna send a cold message right around the terrace. Fuck the working man. Fuck his kids. That shit don't count.
And D'Angelo, as I went over in the previous commentary,
That's what I don't
He's not hard like the rest of them.
You sell the shit.
He's got the best heart.
Fuck away.
He's
Know what I mean?
he has the character most worth saving of the Weebays, the Stringers, the Avons.
Somebody after another.
So this guilt trip is going to have an effect on him. And he's also one of the only ones who would see the logic that I got away with it. Why did this dude still have to die?
Empties a 9. You should already been on 20 missing jail caps. A little kid, instead of getting his first haircut, gets one in the eye.
They're trying to make him sad and guilty so that he will give him something to work with. Some type of information.
He didn't do that. Shoot up a barber shop? No, they did not.
So Bunk is going to come in and just say, hey, why don't you just write a letter to his kids and tell them how you feel?
My thing ain't had. They have to do that.
See, this is everything he says is a hint to them. All he just needs to shut the fuck up. The lawyer's going to show up in a minute and tell him that. And the lawyer is super condescending. He even says, you people. See, those are Bunk's kids.
I think you should do, D'Angelo.
But it adds to the drama and the guilt.
Because I think you wanted that man to get
In
shot.
D'Angelo's mind, those kids don't have a dad because of
I
him.
think you could,
That's a heavy fucking thought.
stay here for a moment or two, collect your thoughts, you know, get your shit together. And then I think it might be a good thing for you to write a little letter to those children. And you let them know you sorry. They're not gonna have anyone left, you know? I mean, just say something.
It doesn't necessarily imply guilt that he writes the letter, though.
Maybe he did it wrong this time.
Anybody would feel sorry for those kids. But the way it's breaking him down like this, it's obvious
It means something to him to know that
that he feels more of a connection to this crime than he should. Also, great acting. He looks legitimately upset.
just say what's in your heart.
He can't look at the picture. Guarantee he's sweating his ass off. Sweat is rolling down the side of his body. From his armpits, that is. Why you gotta be the one to write a fucking letter?
That was big. Got good to me, what can I say?
Sad enough with the kids.
Even Kima believes that the kids were his.
They're yours?
They have like this orchestrated presentation. They're like an improv troupe.
Maurice Levy just posted. It's by the elevators.
Landsman would be great at that. He might be the most charismatic one of the bunch.
Sam Monty would tell you, dragging me from the Levy family preserve on a Friday night. My apologies. Yvette made brisket. Served hot, 1 or 2. Your client. What the fuck? Stop.
What the fuck?
Statement, we took no stake. He just decided voluntarily to write a letter to the victim's family.
See, if he had just sat there in silence, they would have had nothing to go with. But he gave them a little bit. And a little bit is exponentially more than nothing.
You don't say anything. You don't do anything. You don't write anything. Do you hear me? Shut up.
How many times do I have to tell you people? Now he just slapped him in the back of the head like he's his goddamn dad. Bitch, I will kill you. And that's incriminating in and of itself. The reaction of the lawyer. He's worried.
Fuck is that?
Now this is Sidnor. Fuck, what is... God damn it, what is his name? Why did I just blank on his name?
I mean, what is it? Toy?
Lester Freeman. So Freeman's building this dollhouse furniture. And he's the quiet, observing type. Very intelligent.
I don't want surprises. Tess?
The other light-skinned dude that they just got is Sidnor. and that's who Daniels negotiated for. So he said he'd keep Presbalewski as long as he got Sidnor too. So that's his new member of the detail.
Investigators, Griggs from my unit.
Griggs. Presbalewski's there. Fuck, what is that guy's name?
On the street, we work partners.
Santangelo.
Herc and Carver.
Herc.
With Santangelo.
Santangelo.
Mahone and Polk.
Mahone, Polk,
And Freeman.
Freeman, Presbalewski.
Start with, we got 9.
I love that this part is in here basically just to be funny, and I guess to show you how low rent the space they're working out of is. They're dealing with this construction noise and this fucking dude yelling.
Herc, Carver, sitting at Lee. We'll be targeting street dealers and rolling them back up the Barksdale Street.
Polk and Mahone.
It almost plays out like it's an accident. Like the dude's not supposed to be yelling and they're just going with it and they kept the take.
You need a prosecutor.
Like, look at the facial expressions. The way that they're all amused, it seems like it's actually happening during the scene. I want to know now.
No, we don't have enough desks yet, so we gotta share. Y'all can furnish it?
No.
I would really like to believe that that wasn't supposed to happen. That they're all in there shooting a scene and this guy just walks in. That would be great.
Who signs the overtime slips? No OT unless prior authorization.
I'd also like to know if that's real. The cops in this show get overtime like it's fucking water, and they seem to rely on it.
Till then,
Is that real life how that works? One, it's dumb to plan on getting overtime. And two, are the cops really that overextended that everybody's always working overtime to the point that they just add it into their salary?
I'm very sorry for your phone. I could have stopped it.
That's beautiful penmanship, D'Angelo.
What can you do with this?
Nothing legally. Doesn't put
It's
himself
not a confession, but
anyone else for that matter.
you had to see the emotion on his face.
I think that man was killed for any other reason than he was a witness.
Why apologize at all as you got nothing to do with it?
Even Kima's on board. I like this office. He's just got like raw plumbing and shit through his window back there. I'd rock this.
That's supposed to mean something, right?
I'm a bit of a loner though. I like my own space. I could jazz this place up and make it perfect for me. And only me. You're not allowed to come over, even if it's my birthday.
Most of all, it needs police who know how to work those things.
So you think it's good for business to put it out on the street where witnesses get killed?
You think it's not on the street already?
Yeah, they're worried about the media reporting that the witnesses get killed, but he was killed to send a message to people on the street. So the message was sent. The people know. Rich folk that live up in their nice neighborhoods and read the newspaper might not know. But the people who are directly affected, they're aware. Damn, give me some of that. I'm hungry. I want like a pizza right now. You all got any ham? Some greens back there? Some baked macaroni and cheese? She's never met him before?
This the little man? Yo, see how shorty favorite.
They got like a year-old son together and she's never even met Avon?
You know who trying to come to me? Oh yeah? You got a grip? Let me see your grip.
Avon's supposed to be his uncle and they look like they could be the same age. I can't fucking tell how old Avon is.
Hey, go fix her a hot plate. Quick. Alright. Got everything on it, man. She like the skinniest thing in her. Hold on, hook you up. Hey, don't let that fool you. She can eat, man. How y'all doing? You doing good? Yeah. You alright?
Is this what Avon just does every day? He's just at cookouts? He's got some long-ass fingers.
You come, you gonna take my man from me?
Pass around the baby time. When you have a kid, a little baby like that, it is kind of cool when you go to a get-together because it's like you're bringing happiness to everybody. It's like you hand them off and you see everybody's face start glowing as they take this baby and play with it, and he just gets passed from person to person to person and they all light up with joy. And you get a break.
What's with the hat?
Tell me, Bubs.
Go down the way to some hats that I'm selling.
McNulty
You need to know I put the
respects the hustle of Bubbles, and I think there's also a tinge of sympathy there.
ain't shit, they don't get shit.
Everyone in the hat's part of Barksdale's crew.
At the terrace.
It's a haggard ass sweater.
That's sharp.
Be nice if they could get him some fresh clothes, but then he wouldn't fit in down there.
I ain't so good with names, but faces I keep in my head.
I used to take him down to Skateview and let him look at the Warren books. He called me up that night, telling me to go to this corner, that corner.
It's amazing that he has that good of a memory and is this great at talking if he's a heroin addict.
Hat routine.
Seems like that would just fuck up your cognitive ability to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I think I actually heard somewhere that you can be a heroin addict and get off, and it leaves the least lasting residual effect. I could be wrong, maybe I misheard that, but I think that I heard once you get off it, it's like it didn't, as long as you didn't actually do major damage, you don't have to worry about anything in the future. I don't think I'm explaining this properly either.
He's still at university. Tubes all up in his nose. Can't sip in a fucking word or two.
Got the chicken pieces and fries.
Goes, right?
Got your milkshake, but I dropped it on the bus.
Restless.
You're restless because you're a junkie and you ain't got your fix.
Okay, hook a nigga up with $10 then? I mean, it's
Damn. He just got real with it. And see, McNulty, he appreciates the work, but also, like I said, I think there's that tinge of sympathy there, and he's a borderline enabler.
Next couple of days.
He's a little bit too willing to fund Bubbles' habits.
Change it up, Bubs. Go east side.
I couldn't imagine not having a place to sleep. Like,
Respect the work.
I'm sure once I got into that mindset, I could figure it out. I'm sure that I would adapt. People are extremely adaptive, and we change our baseline for happiness regularly. So if your life suddenly becomes great, after a bit, you're going to baseline, and you're not going to feel as happy about certain shit as you would have prior to that. Same thing if your life nosedives, your baseline is going to become much lower, and the simplest little thing is going to bring you joy after that.
How fuck you gotta say you sorry? Motherfuckers try to put your ass in a stun. Yeah, but it didn't turn out that way. You know, so I'm saying.
So now Avon's finding out that the cops are sniffing around. They know his name, they know Stringer's name,
It's a shame what happened.
they're aware that these witnesses are getting killed. The walls are starting to crack, the foundation's starting to crumble a little bit.
About what? I said, what you think about what happened to me? You think we
Now this is the bullshit part. Avon just straight up lies to D'Angelo and says they didn't have anything to do with it. Of course they fucking had something to do with it.
You don't know and you don't need to know. And if we did, we had a reason. And if we didn't, we had a reason. But either way, you ain't got shit to do with it.
But that's also a plausible deniability aspect.
You feel me? It ain't on you.
He can't tell him that they killed him because now he's an accessory after the fact because he
I
knows.
don't wanna hear shit about you writing nothing to no one. Got it? Yeah. Come on, man. Let's go in and have some good time, get some rest.
From a businessman perspective, Avon's level of frustration has got to be beginning to mount with D'Angelo. He's causing him troubles, and he's family.
We're dancing around with this motherfucker. Typing shit out. Taking pictures of assholes and hats. What the fuck is
See, these douchebags at this point,
Say we go down there right now.
none of them have figured it out. None of them get the game. They think that you just bust heads, and that's how you solve crimes.
You gotta let these motherfuckers know who you are.
They're not getting that you lay in the cut and you observe and you get a lay of the land and you get to pick up bits and pieces that you wouldn't get to pick up if you just roll in and knock everybody's heads off the bat. And they're about to go into an unfriendly environment where they're completely outnumbered, and they shouldn't be. They're also drunk. Listening to The Who. Like, this is just straight up harassment. This shouldn't be allowed, what they do here. And you get to see how they're protected.
Yo, come here, man.
Like, what the fuck do they hope to gain from this?
You don't know me? Put your hands up. Drop that shit. Put your hands up.
These guys are, they're just deciding they're guilty because they're outside of an apartment complex? What are they...
Gonna stick me? Huh? No? Say. Got your pockets. And you know what? Put your pants down, man. Put your pants
But this is what's great about this show. They are willing to show you that there are cops that are douchebags. Not everybody's a hero. It's not all black and white. And there are moments where it's okay to sympathize with drug dealers or
Stay down, man.
things of that nature.
Stay down.
Everybody in these apartments is sitting here watching this, and of course they think it's fucked up too. Now this kid sitting on the hood of the car is the one that I said would reappear later. Earlier in the episode, he was playing those fucking upside down buckets like drums. But he's pushing their buttons too. Like, oh my god. All that was bad. Everybody's doing the wrong things here. You know that there is tension between cops and people around here. They're clearly not here as well-wishers. So to sit on the hood of their car and talk shit to them, it's just a dumb decision to make. You have no regard for your own safety. Then Presbalewski, because he doesn't take this seriously and he's a dipshit, clocks him with his fucking pistol butt. Everybody in this apartment complex has seen it, and now they're about to get rained on. First it was bottles, then a fucking TV just flew at them. Homie, don't play that. They're not gonna let these guys just come into their neighborhood and bully them like this for no fucking reason. Oh my god, now Presbalewski's just firing up into the apartments. Luckily in the story they didn't have him shoot anybody there. That could have turned so bad for him. He's just firing up in the air. He didn't even know what he was shooting at. He couldn't see anybody. This is McNulty's apartment. It's fucking sparse. He has a bed and box spring on the floor. It looked like he had one shitty dinette chair. And then a TV. And then clothes laid all over the floor. Empty bottles. Takeout food. Total disgusting bachelor pad. Nothing on the walls. What a creep. Now he's gonna go steal his neighbor's newspaper. And the judge wasn't satisfied and went to the media anyway. So Jimmy's ass is going to be in a major sling after this. You happy now, bitch? Bunk says that to McNulty about 100 times in the series.
He's detailed major to narcotics. I fucking know where he's detailed. I fucking already know. Where is he right now? I can take him, sir.
When you ask a question and the answer pisses you off.
Move that fucking desk out of my unit. I do not want that fucking man's desk in my unit.
How about you just move his stuff and you leave the desk?
Watch this. Your belty sits here.
Oh, you're mad, but you just fucked up at the same time, and you just gotta take it and walk away. There's nothing you could say. But after that newspaper article, McNulty is
Let me tell you something.
sealed his fate.
If he gets caught with his dick up the ass of the deputy's wife, he's still gonna have more of a career than if they find out he's behind that story.
Where are we at now? Oh, duh.
Saw the story in the paper. When you know that.
So they got rained on for a bit. The car ended up getting torched. Hurt got cut. Damn, look at that beast. How come I can still see foam? I think all that foam goes pretty quickly.
They jumped us, boss.
You lying pieces of shit.
What are you doing here at 2 in the morning?
Field interviews, you know, police work.
Yeah, I'm sure a jury will believe that.
I got a 14-year-old in critical but stable condition at university. A few witnesses who say one of you princes.
Critical condition over getting clocked in the eye?
I got his mother over the IID filing a formal brutality charge, which for her will make it even 4 in the last 2 years. But all of them true. I got one less
See?
bit that I had last night.
4 brutality complaints, none sustained, and Daniel says, yeah, but all of them true. Because they don't want to make their whole system look bad, so they protect people.
What did you learn when you went into the terrace at 2 in the morning to conduct field interviews?
And this is pre, GoPros and cell phone cameras. A lot easier to get away with that shit. For sure, nowadays, somebody would have footage of them pulling in there, harassing that kid. They'd have the whole thing on a cell phone camera. It'd be on YouTube.
You're gonna have a file thick enough to see the light of a trial board. Now tell me, who cold cut the kid?
So now Daniels is pissed at them. He knows they're wrong, but he's still going to coach them and give them a story and help them get out of it. He wants to punch Presbalewski in his fucking nose. He hates that guy right now. And I can't blame him. He got peddled onto him because he's a dipshit and nobody else wants him. He's only being protected because he married into police royalty, essentially. And he's so cavalier and carefree about everything.
Rather than use deadly force in such a situation, maybe you elected to approach the youth, ordering him to drop the Bible.
The decision-making ability is just not there. How do you clock that kid with your pistol in the eye? Obviously, alcohol is involved as well. But that was a decision you made, too. You decided to get shit-faced. You decided to go there.
Talk to him, Tony. I can't fix him. You're on your own.
I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, but Daniels has a law degree. He actually becomes a lawyer later. So he knows the legalese. He knows how these guys need to phrase this to keep themselves out of hot water.
It wasn't me. The story quoted you. Fucking reporter, he has the story confirmed when he calls me about the quote. What am I gonna say? No, he wasn't a witness. No, he
Who went to the press then if it wasn't you?
You don't think it's around about the witness? Lawyers, clerks, jurors, everybody.
I'm trying to remember now. Was it Burrell himself? Somebody obviously told the news because they wanted it to look like it was these guys. So now he's discussing the dilemma with his wife. So basically, he had to coach them out of that because he's their superior and he would get in hot water if they got in trouble for that. And he's discovering that the system is rigged.
But you can't lose if you don't quit.
He can't make everybody happy. He's going to have to choose a side.
The department puts you in the You're giving people that are useless or untrustworthy.
Correct.
If you push too hard and any shit hits the fan, you'll be blamed for it.
Correct.
You don't push hard.
So basically, if it goes wrong, either way, he's going to be blamed for it. If he tries too hard and it goes wrong, he's going to be blamed for it. If he doesn't try hard enough and it goes wrong, he's going to be blamed for it. So her theory is he should just not do it at all. And I don't know if we've addressed this yet, but I think I did in the previous commentary. McNulty's a raging alcoholic. This is another kind of dark humor scene. He's just sitting here getting shit-faced in his car. Oh, it's not the scene I thought it was. God damn it. And that torched cop car is just left outside this project building like it's a piece of furniture. Business as usual. Keeps on moving. Is that Omar? Is this the first time we see Omar? No. I feel like they're going to show us something here important, but maybe I'm wrong. God damn, I can't imagine that life. There's just people out there sleeping on the couch in the middle of the courtyard. Who was that? God damn it, I couldn't see. Okay, this is the scene I thought it was. It just had that cut in between. These kids are down here trying to break into this fucking car. Jimmy's shit-faced and sees them. And he's in no condition to do anything about it. He actually falls down the hill trying to get his badge out. Oh. That'd be a funny experience if you were those kids. Like, I almost got busted trying to break into a car. The cop was drunk and fell down the hill. You also get the sense from this show, all these are real characters. All these people actually exist. There's nothing cartoonish or caricature-like about them. Very grounded in reality, which isn't some people's cup of tea, I get. But if it is your cup of tea, you'll find none better.
What was that? What happened?
So Daniel's just found out that the kid that Presbeluski hit is blind in one eye. So that's a problem legally, as well as being something that adds to the guilt level, because he's now sheltering somebody who assaulted a kid and caused him to be blind in one eye. And then that's how the episode ends, on that heavy moment. And they're good at those little cliffhangers that make you want to go, fuck, what's going to happen now? And we're just into season 2. So, or not season 2, episode 2. It gets a lot more complex, and they start having a lot more dots connected and callbacks to previous elements of the show as we progress. So it's going to continue to get better and better. That one seemed like I didn't have as much to say as the previous one, as much as I'd like to, but like I said, once it starts to get a little more complex, we'll have more to talk to, or more to talk about, more references to make. That is going to conclude the commentary for Season 1, Episode 2 of The Wire. I appreciate you guys listening. I love you. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off and saying, be easy.